The European Parliament, together with the Council, which is a kind of club of European Union member states, and the Commission, which is a European government, is a key political institution that is responsible for co-legislating, co-deciding on European laws, policies, etc. The European Parliament is a democratic institution because it represents the European citizens from the EU member states themselves. It's directly elected since 1979, and this is in stark contrast to the Council and to the European Commission, which are not elected by the European citizens, but rather its members are appointed by national governments. And because the Parliament is directly elected by us, by the citizens, it needs to directly represent, take into account the interests of the citizens throughout Europe. The European Parliament is based in both Brussels and Strasbourg. To many, it seems a distant, technocratic institution, far away from people, hidden in what is often called the Brussels bubble or the Euro bubble. But it's also true that it's a human world in its own right, where members of Parliament in their official guise contribute to important political decisions when they work in the Parliament, but they all are also part of a small human society, particularly based in the famous Brussels European Quarter. And this human society is multilingual, multinational. And for instance, these members of European Parliament meet informally in Place du Luxembourg, also known as Place Lux or Plux or Plux even, which is a roundabout square full of bars right in front of the Parliament. So as they talk amongst each other, they say the Euro bubblers go pluxing. What does the Parliament then actually do? What are its main functions? Well, a core thing it does is indeed legislation. So it has legislative power, but most of the times this is together with the Council, and so it produces European policies and laws. For instance, currently the European Parliament is working on legislation in order to combat violence against women, against domestic violence. It is putting together equality strategies on gender and LGBTQIA+ issues. It even proposed recently the right to repair, and it also adopted a resolution recently against Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism. So that's one very important function of the Parliament. The second one is its power with regard to the imposition of the budget of the European Union. The Parliament has the authority to adopt, to amend and even to reject the European Union budget, together again with the Council. And for instance, recently the Parliament obtained a revision of the budget for the period 24-27, and this budget includes support for the Ukraine, for instance. It includes the so-called Next Generation EU funds, and it also includes the EU for Health type of funding. The final function of the European Parliament is it is an organ of democratic control. So it exercises democratic supervision over other European institutions, including the Commission. In that sense, it has the power to approve or to dismiss the Commission as a whole. The European Parliament is hence a kind of watchdog, monitoring the other institutions. It's set up in the following way. It has the classical plenary assembly, classical parliamentary hemicycle or horseshoe-shaped type of debating chamber. Main decision-making bodies is this plenary assembly, and it consists of all the members of the European Parliament. Then there are political groups in the Parliament that represent political affiliations, specific ideologies. They basically group national parties, but along ideological political lines. So there's the conservative group of the European People's Party, there are the more central, let's say, liberals, there are the left-wing parties in the left, there's the Green group, and there's now also increasingly a radical right group, or actually two groups. The European Parliament is grounded in a whole range of committees where most of the important work is being done in the Parliament. Important committees regard the Human Rights Committee, the one on Constitutional Affairs, there's also one on Employment and Social Affairs and a whole bunch of other ones. And in these committees, legislative proposals are examined, in-depth discussions take place on these proposals, and so they prepare legislation in a very nitty-gritty manner. Finally, the European Parliament has, of course, a president who's particularly also important for representing the Parliament to the outside world, but is also a main actor in setting the agenda for the Parliament itself.